my channel. It feels so good to finally be able to sit down and record a proper video instead of another filler video. If you're new here, my name is Shay and this is my channel, Shay's Corner, where I like to talk about whatever is on my mind. It can range from topics about mental health, personal lifestyle, anything. This channel is just up for interpretation, you know. It's the artist in me. Today, I'm going to be talking about how I started dating myself and what that journey has looked like for me. And I hope that you guys can find anything in this video helpful or useful or even just kind of relate to what I'm going through. So let's just jump into the video. So for background, I do want to talk a little bit about my love life and past experiences that I've had. I've had to do a lot of work on learning codependent tendencies in my relationships. I'm actually still in the process of this, hence why I'm making this video. I recently realized that I'm scared of being alone, and I didn't realize it until I was forced to confront it through life circumstances. I mentioned this in my last video, but recently a lot of my close friendships and family relationships have just completely fell apart. For the first time in my life ever, I was forced to rely on myself for emotional support and to keep myself company. Before this, I used to look a lot to others for validation and security, which this isn't inherently a bad thing. As humans, we are social creatures and we do thrive in groups. But when you build your entire sense of self-worth in other people, when they leave, it's devastating. And that happened to me many times. I was desperately just trying to fill this void inside of me with other people. I read in this book one time that the fear of being alone is actually just a fear of self-confrontation, and I feel like that's very true. I think on a subconscious level, I was aware of this void and I was scared of it. So I just clung to other people in order to run from it. This void in general was just a lack of self-love. I cannot count how many times I've abandoned myself and betrayed myself in pursuit of validation from another person. Because I didn't have love within, I was always chasing the love in other people, which is ironic because when I finally received this love, it still wasn't enough and I never knew why. I remember telling my therapist for a long time I couldn't feel the love of my friends and family, and while I don't think this all falls on me, I think a big part of it was just me generally feeling empty inside. I have a lot of theories about where this lack of self-love came from. Growing up, I had a very abusive and narcissistic mother. I was bullied, I bullied others, and the cycle of trauma and hurt just perpetuated itself. I think because of the lack of love I received from my mom, it ingrained this deep-rooted feeling of unworthiness. But this video isn't about my parents. Maybe another time. This video is about me dating myself. This issue really became prevalent to me when I began consistently attracting people who were emotionally unavailable. Whenever I was in a situationship or whatever you want to call it, it wouldn't progress because the other person was never ready or they couldn't give me the love or attention that I needed or something along those lines. It was the same problem over and over and over, and it became really frustrating. I started to feel inadequate and as if there was something wrong with me or that the universe is playing a joke on me or something. But then I realized I was emotionally unavailable. I had a lot of stuff going on in my personal life, and I had a lack of self-love in general, which means that I couldn't give love or receive it in the way that I wanted to. That's why I kept attracting and perpetuating these experiences that were just reflecting back what was going on inside of me. It happened so many times that I'm actually surprised it took me this long to realize it. Since recognizing this issue, I've decided that I'm going to give myself the space to go inward and heal whatever is going on. I'm not completely cutting myself off from other people, but I am giving myself the chance to appreciate my company more. I did something similar to this last year where I took myself out on a date once or twice, and I thought like, maybe I should do that again, but just a little bit more committed. So I've decided to enter a full-blown relationship with myself. This video or this experiment is going to be split into two parts. The first part being me courting myself or the talking phase, whatever you want to call it. And then the second part is going to be me taking myself out on actual dates. The first thing I did when I started dating myself is learning how to speak my love language. I'm sure anyone watching this is aware of what love languages are, but if you're not, basically it's the way you receive and give love. There are 5 love languages: acts of service, quality time, words of affirmation, physical touch, and gifts. We most commonly apply these love languages to partnerships. However, I recently stumbled across this picture that looks kind of like this. I don't think this is the original picture, But basically the gist of it was self-love languages. And that's when I realized that to start dating myself, I needed to speak my love languages back to me. My top 3 love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, and physical touch. Even though acts of service and gifts aren't that important to me, I still try to find some way to incorporate them. So here is how I courted myself using love languages. The first one being words of affirmation. Words mean a whole lot to me. I'm a writer myself, and I often use words to express how much I love and appreciate the people around me. Growing up, I would randomly write my friends letters about our friendship, like a little yearly update. And I've always found myself longing for other people to write me letters and poetry in the way that I write them letters and poetry. So for this love language, I decided to start telling myself everything that I wish someone else would say to me. I mainly do this by texting myself. When I'm in a relationship, I love those good morning and good night texts. They mean everything to me. So every day now, I send myself thoughtful good morning and good night text. In order to make it feel more real, I actually delete my side of the conversation so it just looks like someone else is sending it to me. These messages are usually encouraging and affirmative. In the morning, I like to say motivational things that will help me navigate the day. At night, I usually just try to recap the day, and if I had a hard day, I like to use positive framing. I also like to send myself songs. I like to give myself compliments, hype myself up, basically as if I was talking to a romantic partner or a friend. Trying this may be weird for some people at first, but taking the time every day, twice a day, to show myself compassion has been really helpful. When I'm writing messages, I like to think in the perspective of what I feel like my higher self would say to me. So even if I'm in a bad mood, I like to step outside of myself and say things that I feel like a dear friend would say. It's also great once you've been doing it for a while and you're able to scroll back and see all these positive messages that you've sent yourself. I often revisit these messages throughout the day just to keep myself going. Next is quality time. Quality time is a big one for me. I love spending time just talking and hanging out with my friends. Figuring out ways to spend quality time with myself was a bit tricky because I wasn't sure how that would look like for me. I feel like quality time will definitely come into play in part 2 of this series when I finally start taking myself out on dates. Until then, I have found some other ways to spend quality time with myself. The first way is journaling. I've been journaling my entire life. I have a whole collection that dates back to like 5th grade. It's nice to have a journal to record your thoughts and engage in self-reflection. I'm not going to go into too much detail about how I journal because I do want to save that for another video, but journaling is a great way to spend quality time with yourself. And if you find physically writing too much of a chore, keep like a Word doc or a Google Doc of all your thoughts. That's also really efficient. It doesn't always have to be pen and paper. Another way I spend quality time with myself is through exercise. I don't think I've mentioned this before on my channel, but I actually do kickboxing. I go to a kickboxing gym every other day and it's a great full body workout. Kickboxing helps me alleviate a lot of the stress that I build up throughout the day. I consider this quality time because when I'm working out, I have to be very in tune with my body and my breathing to make sure that I'm not overexerting myself and that I'm pacing myself. I also have to be aware of my technique. When I'm kickboxing, I'm just able to focus on the present moment. I honestly consider it a form of meditation. Other small things I include in quality time are reading, watching Netflix, or just laying in bed. Lately, I've had trouble relaxing because I've just been so fixated on being productive all the time. Forcing myself to relax is something I've been trying to do more of. And last, we have physical touch. Realizing that physical touch was one of my love languages actually took me a while. But honestly, it makes so much sense because I love cuddling, I love hugs, I love holding hands, etc. Now that I'm thinking about it, I used to feel so appreciated when my friends would like fall asleep on me and like lean on my shoulder or something. We'd be riding the bus and they'd accidentally fall asleep and I just feel so loved. I start freaking out like, oh my gosh, this person trusts me enough to fall asleep on me. Like, it's so cute. Sometimes when I get sad and no one's around, I like to hug myself. So in an effort to provide myself physical touch, I did a few things. First, I bought a teddy bear. Here he is. His name is Sunday. He's great. I found him in a Walgreens. I know it may seem childish to sleep with a teddy bear, but honestly, I'm not ashamed, and neither is Sunday. Sleep is just so important. I eventually want to get a weighted blanket to sleep with. Having a bear or a body pillow that you can cuddle with can really help with physical touch. My friend has a really soft pillow that she uses specifically for cuddling, and it makes a big difference. If I need a hug, I can always get one from Sunday. It's a hack. So for anyone out there whose love language is physical touch, get a teddy bear or something to cuddle with. It'll change your life. I promise you. Another small way I like to incorporate physical touch is through showering or using a moisturizer. Investing in a nice body wash or lotion that smells really good can help. It just feels good putting it on, and of course you have to touch your body. It's nice. Like I mentioned before, acts of service and giving gifts aren't necessarily important to me when it comes to receiving and giving love. I honestly think me just waking up every day and continuing to live is an act of service in itself. Another thing that I've been doing that doesn't necessarily fall into any of the love language categories is just getting to know myself. Maybe it falls with quality time, I'm not sure, but this in particular is more of a mindful thing. I mentioned before that I was constantly chasing people, and when you do that, you tend to lose yourself in other people, and that definitely happened to me. I remember people would ask me like, how would I describe myself, and I would literally have no idea what to tell them. I was just losing myself, and so lately I've been putting more of an effort in to really get to know who I am, and that just entails me observing myself, my thoughts, how I react to things, my likes, my dislikes, and just building that sense of self. It makes you more confident, and it makes you less likely to lose yourself in other people when you do enter a relationship. But yeah, that is all that I have for this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see part 2, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to get to 5 whole subscribers by the end of the year. So stay tuned for part 2. I'm not sure when it will be uploaded. I know that I'm going to have a few more uploads before part 2 of this video comes out. I'll be taking myself out on dates, and I'm really excited about that. If you're watching this and you want to ask me something, or you want to get in contact, or just have a conversation, here's my Tumblr. My asks are open, my DMs are open, and you can message me anytime. Tumblr is the only social media that I have. I don't think anyone out there is impersonating me, but you never know. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out.